Welcome to this evening's session. I understand a lot of you are in our application process, so either looking at the opportunities, thinking about whether you should apply, not apply, is the role going to be the right fit for yourself? You've got myself, you've got Sophie, and you've got Austin on the call. We are going to really give you just an insight, a whistle-stop tour into what the position's about, who we are as a business as well. You may have heard of us, you may not have. So we just want to give you some highlights about us as a business. And I'm going to be a little bit biased and talk about what makes us so great. So with that said, let's get kick-started. We have got the chat function, so please feel free to add any questions throughout the presentation, and we'll go to answer them towards the back end. So whose enterprise mobility is the question that I get? Oh, I'm sure you're thinking own business, and we have a world-class portfolio of a lot of different brands, which we're going to go through. As a business, we have grown our network to 90 employees. We operate close to 90,000 employees, 90 countries, and we have a great branch network. You know, we are the 9th largest privately held company in the USA. So great achievement there for ourselves. And I think we truly believe ourselves to be a leader in the transport industry. And I suppose the question is, how did we get there? And our success is really down to our employees. You know, we empower each of our employees to really take the opportunity to grow their career and to make a difference in our business. Our mission statement is really very simple, which is look after your customers and your employees, and growth and profitability will follow. And that is really what all of these numbers on the screen have built up to, you know. And like I said, naturally I'm a little bit biased, so I am going to say this is a great place to work, and I am going to say a lot of this success is down to our employees. So let's talk a little bit about the numbers and what's got us there. So this is us as an organization. Enterprise Mobility is our corporate brand. We recently rebranded to Enterprise Mobility, but under Enterprise Mobility, we showcase a portfolio to really make sure we meet the needs of every customer. So from our rental side of the business, we operate under National and Alamo. We have our fleet management side of the business, which is more of our commercial side, along with truck rental and flexi rent. And then we have our exotics vehicles, so our premium luxury vehicles that we operate in. And probably near a campus to yourself, you've probably seen our car club that we operate in. So it's giving our customers that degree of flexibility, really to have the opportunity to utilize a wide range of our services. Our rebrand truly does begin our next chapter. It just reinforces our commitment to delivering that exceptional service for both our customers and our communities. So a little bit about us and our values. Our commitment, like I've talked about, is very much around our customer service. But some of our pillars and what's really strengthened us as a business is what we were founded on. When Jack started off our organization, he started it off with 8 very simple values. And it's doing right by our customers and our employees. And it's very much in our DNA. Now, these are some of our values. Our brand is the most valuable thing we own. Customer service, and I think you've heard me already, is our way of life. We do work hard and we reward hard work. And later on, you're going to hear from both Sophie and Austin, and they'll talk a bit about their career path in enterprise. And as we continue to go through the presentation, you'll hear a little bit about how we strengthened our communities. A lot of our success is built around honesty and integrity. We really do believe in doing the right things by our employees, our customers, and our business. And while we work hard, we also believe in that we're a fun and friendly place to work. And then, of course, great things happen when we listen to our customers and our employees. And most importantly, our doors are always open. And when I talk about that, I'm not talking about our physical doors open, but really open to diversity and inclusion. So this ties in really nicely as I talk a bit about diversity and inclusion. You know, everyone can bring something different to the table, and we recognize that, you know, no two individuals are ever the same, the background, culture, abilities and values. And that's what really makes us truly the a best place to work. You know, we want every single one of our employees to come into work each day and add value in the way they can. You know, we strive to create that inclusive environment where everyone can be their best self. We also, at the same time, want to work and support our local businesses and larger companies and really help them with a diverse range of people. So, for example, we've forged relationships with the likes of the social mobility and then also disability confident employers. All of this is really important. It builds the success of us, who we are today. And actually, you've got a quote from our CEO, and then also one of my own employees has put a quote in. You know, Ramina herself has a disability, and she's just highlighted there how her disability hasn't hindered her in her day-to-day role. So part of what makes enterprise mobility a great place to work is just our CSR involvement. We're always investing in the future. Now, I've just highlighted four that I think I'm always excited about, but on our website, there is so much more that we get involved in. So if I talk a bit about fill your tank, it's our commitment. We've committed $115 million over the next 10 years. And it's about partnering up and feeding those that are less fortunate. You know, it's a pretty tough time out there at the moment. And some individuals, you know, go without food. Jack founded our business, and this was an initiative to remember Jack when he passed away. He never wanted to see a family go without food. Then you have the 50 million tree pledge. Again, you know, planting trees around the country is just great over the next 50 years. And then, of course, just making sure that we're a sustainable business. The title, so it's about what can we do to support and make sure we're more sustainable. So we work with the likes of Amazon, Siemens, to make sure we're providing corporate cars for them, so that they don't have to own their own fleet of vehicles. And then lastly, obviously highlighted at the end, which is just our general partnership with the mobility and services company. So let's move on to what makes us great. So we have had over the last year 20,000 employees move into various positions through a promotion, you know, and these 20,000 employees have been supported throughout their career. So we've really fostered and nurtured them to get into a position that suits them. One of Enterprise's most greatest strengths is our promote from within. Everybody starts as a management trainee, and we develop through the career path. So you've heard a little bit about CSR, you've heard a bit about our promotions, you've heard about our values, you've heard some statistics around us. These are some of the great accolades over the last couple of months. Enterprise have really been recognised for everything we do in the graduate and placement markets. So just a couple of weeks ago, we, through Target Jobs, was crowned Graduate Employer of the Year. And then side by side with that, we were awarded number one Rate My Placement. So for anybody that's looking for a placement, we were one of the best placement providers, as well as the Times Top 100 Graduate Employers. These are great. It's a great testament to what we do in our business every day when it comes to employee development, in terms of growth, our promotions, you know, and how we nurture our employees to be the very best that they can be. So on to the management trainee program. As I've mentioned, we offer both a graduate scheme as well as a placement scheme. And what we do on our management trainee program is inspire you to learn how to run and manage a business. So you're gaining invaluable hands-on skills around customer service, sales, marketing, finance, and operations. And the questions we always get asked are, am I going to be doing that on a rotation? And absolutely not. And Sophie and Austin will definitely talk about that in a little bit more depth. So let's talk about the reasons to be a management trainee. So, Sophie, do you want to jump in here? Obviously, the first one is talking a bit about business understanding. So, to help us understand what exposure you had when it comes around to business understanding.
Yeah, so when I went into my like management trainee program, you start off by sort of learning about the four core areas of the business, which includes like growth, employee development, customer service, and then you also learn sort of the finances of the business. So as well as just learning about sort of the day-to-day operations and how you get through a day at enterprise, you also look at the behind the scenes, which in a few like placement programs, you might only focus on one aspect of the business, whereas enterprise as a trainee, being like a graduate or a placement student, you'll look at all of the areas of the business and have the opportunity to also make an impact. So at a lot of branches, you go out once a month and look over all your financial statements. And as well as just like sort of evaluating those and analysing them, you look at how you can improve on next month. And everyone sort of puts their own ideas in and see what we can do better as a business. So you do have quite a like impactful role even as a trainee to see like what you can do better.
Fab. And then, Austin, what about some of the professional skills that you've developed over the year that you were here with us?
Yeah, I think it gives you it gives you exposure to every part of business. I always get made fun of at my branch on my first ad. And before I started enterprise, I'd never done any customer facing role at all. So I'd always like my previous jobs before uni were always like labouring and working in factories and stuff like that. And my customer service skills from working enterprise and like my sales skills and stuff like that on the first day at my job now. I answered the phone and just said, I picked the phone up and said hello. Like that's the kind of level that I started at, and like the change from that to where I am now is second to none. The training you get, you work with talented managers and talented people who've all come through the management trainee program, and they will kind of guide you in where you need to improve and what you're good at. And I think that the level of understanding you get about just running a business as a whole is unreal, to be fair.
Austin, hold those thoughts on about, you didn't have the sales skills or the customer service skills, because we're going to come on to that slide, because I'm sure a lot of our individuals on the call may think, oh gosh, I don't have that. What do you exactly need for this role? And it's how do we get that across? So definitely hold that thought there. So what about growing your relationships? What have you done to grow the relationships? Where have you started to grow your relationships? Either or can take this one.
Go on, Austin, you take it.
Yeah, so, I think you get the opportunity to, especially at my branch, you get to meet a lot of people. So I always say the best part of my job is I get to meet people from all around the world. I'm at a city centre location. A lot of people are on holiday and stuff like that. I get to speak to people from all around the world, and get kind of insight on their life and stuff like that. In terms of work itself, you build really good relationships with the people you work with. They become your best friends. You spend obviously so much time at work. It's really nice that everyone at Enterprise is young and stuff like that, because everyone's at kind of the same level. You can go out with them and stuff like that. Go out with them on a Friday night, and yeah, it's unreal. You do build really really strong relationships for Enterprise. I've got friends for life now that I've met through the job.
Absolutely. And even if we're not young, because I'm not going to put myself in the young category, the fact that we all start on the same management trainee program and then develop through, I think the experiences that we can share across each other, we're going through the same motions. We know how the next person feels. We've got that advice, tips, hints, definitely. So when you started, Sophie, of course, really daunting experience. You started on a placement scheme with us, so talk me through what support system you had when you started with us.
Yeah, so I think right from the get-go, my like branch manager and team were really supportive. I actually went to meet them before I even started my placement, my team, and we all like went out for food. So that made me feel a lot more like at ease on the day that I actually joined the team. But I had a mentor within Enterprise who helped me along the way. So any questions I had, I knew I could reach out to him. But also, I think everyone at Enterprise, regardless of what level they're at, tends to be so supportive. So whether it's other management trainees who are on the same level as you but might be a few months ahead, or whether it's your managers or even their managers, or even reaching out to people in different departments, I think there's not one person you could ask that won't be helpful at Enterprise. Everyone's so willing to help, and there's that culture of everyone wanting people to like perform well and do well at Enterprise, and you will get supported by and literally anyone you ask at Enterprise is always willing to help.
Absolutely. And of course, over the year that you've been with us, talk us through some of the rewards that you've achieved and awards, if anything, really, Sophie. So let's start with Austin first, and Sophie, then you can finish on a high as well on some of the awards that maybe you've gained over the year that you've been here with us.
Yeah, I think it is really nice. It's very metric based, so you get measured on everything, which is good. If you're nice and competitive, it really does help you kind of drive towards you want to beat the person next to you, sort of thing. But you all help each other in driving that. So if you're really good at sales and someone else is really good at customer service, you can go to them and be like, oh, what are you doing differently? And then of course you get your bonuses and stuff like that, which are really nice.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'd definitely add to that. So in additional, there's lots of like internal branch competitions, area competitions in sales and customer service where you can get like rewards if you're performing well, and it feels good, obviously, when you're performing well. If you're doing the placement scheme, then Enterprise run an intern of the year competition. You just present sort of a business improvement idea, how you get involved with like social media, diversity, equity, inclusion, and that's something all of the interns can get involved with. And I was awarded last year Intern of the Year, which was probably my highlight of my placement at Enterprise. So that was like one of the awards, I guess, available to you. But there's also loads of different rewards you can get, even if you're like a graduate, by going through the like sales competitions and things like that.
Sophie, what did you walk away with?
I walked away with £5,000 last summer. So
Have you
that
spent
was
it already?
not all of it, no. A good chunk of it. I went on holiday to Italy with my mum for a few weeks. But yeah, it was really good like reward, and there's loads of things like that available at Enterprise if you're motivated by money.
Absolutely. And even if you're not, I just think it's really nice because what you got through that whole process was loads of skill sessions to attend as an intern. So for those of you that are looking for a placement scheme on the call today, we do monthly sessions on different topics, really, as well as you had the opportunity to pitch your business idea to senior managers as well. And I think part of that really nicely was just the reward of the £5,000 in the back end. So well deserved as well. So as you noticed, guys, I skipped ahead on my slides earlier because I get a bit carried away, I do. So this is the career path. So for those of you that are on the call, and looking for a management trainee program or on the graduate scheme or the placement scheme, the roles are very similar. You're getting hands-on business skills in our local rental branches. A big part of the position is really picking up our customers, bringing them back, and dealing with their whole process from start to end. But along with that, what you're doing is trying to think about how do you maximize the business? How do you look after the profits? How do you deliver excellent customer service? How do you reduce your costs or your losses? Now, for Austin and for Sophie on this role, they have both completed their first year and they have left to go back to work, go back to university to finish off their final year. As well as working part-time, and they've left as management assistants, which means now that we'll be offering them a role to return back. So they start off at that level and working their way into an assistant manager very quickly, coming back. For the rest of you on our graduate scheme, we aim for you to be an assistant anything between 10 to 18 months. As I said at the start of the programme, we recognise everybody develops at their own rate. We have support, we have training, we have classroom-based, we have on-the-job, we have online learning lockers, as we call them. So there's topics and areas that you can build your skill sets on to get you to that. But like I said, we also recognise individuals do it at their own pace. We will, of course, support you to get there within that 10 to 12 month mark. But again, also recognise that sometimes we have a few blips across the on our journeys, and it may take a little bit longer. But that's okay, because that's what we do in the business. Stepping you into the branch manager role. As a branch manager, as you can see, we've expanded out into lots of little spiders. As a branch manager, you really are responsible for the sales, the business to business sales of the business. You're looking after the business management side and the finance. As I say finance, and I'm sure those that are on the call that are super excited about going into a career in finance, what I'm talking about there is looking at the strategic side of the business. Where have we made money? Have we lost money? How do we make more? You're running a business. You're also thinking about how to reduce liability and the risk side. There's an element of HR in your role as a branch manager, as well as obviously looking after the fleet of our vehicles. Now, as much as you're learning all of those different aspects in the position, we also recognise that when you get to that branch manager level, you may feel that your skill set is suited to one of these different areas of the business. You've seen an opportunity come up, and actually, you're going to put your name in the hat. Earlier on, you saw me put up the slide that 20,000 employees got promoted into various roles within the business. And you could be one of the 20,000 that's moving around and taking an opportunity. It's important for us to have the right individuals in the right positions to drive our business forward. Beyond that, you've got our area manager role. So if you decide to stick on the career path of our rental avenue, you've got our area manager position. And our area managers typically manage between 5 to 7 branches and are responsible for the team in the local area. And then onto our group rental manager position. So they manage 3 to 5 area managers and all of the local regions as well and beyond. So we're going to talk a bit about the skills that you're going to get on the management program. And as we talk about those skills, I appreciate those on the calls may feel like, oh, I don't quite have those skills at the moment. And we heard Austin say earlier on, he didn't have some of those skills. So I suppose let's talk a bit about some of these skills. So you're going to gain communication skills. You are going to gain customer service. Now, Austin, you alluded to that maybe your sales and service wasn't quite where it needed to be when you were coming in. You still applied for the role. How did you get that across in your interview? And what made you confident that you're going to be okay in this position?
I think just because of the nature of how enterprise works and how supportive everyone is, I think if you don't necessarily have those skills coming into the job, people, as long as you come across well, that it doesn't really matter if you don't have any evidence of any customer service skills or sales skills or anything like that. That it's not an issue at all. As long as you show that you'd be kind of able to develop those skills and you've got work experience prior or experience doing something kind of external to just studying, then you'll be absolutely fine.
And I think the key thing there is you've got to be passionate about delivering customer service, because if you're not, this definitely isn't the role. 80% of our role evolves around customer service, so you've got to enjoy that aspect, definitely. And I think you're right. It's about using the skills that you do have and bringing it in and showcasing what you may have done linked to customer service. So then on to time management. I think here it's about managing your time, getting everything done in an effective manner. You're going to learn leadership skills, taking charge, getting involved in decision making. Sophie, when you started, how would you say your leadership skills have evolved over the year that you've been here?
So at the start, obviously, you don't tend to get involved too much with leadership. I'm talking like the first maybe 1 or 2 months whilst you just get to grips with the business. But then obviously if a new trainee starts, you might help them out with their training a little bit, making sure they know what's what, towards sort of maybe 6 months in your placement or graduate role as a trainee, you might take over your assistant manager's job for a day and learn what it's like to run the branch on your own, whilst the assistant manager sort of takes a step back. So you'll be sort of leading the office, making sure everyone's doing what they need to and getting through the day. So you definitely get to develop those skills as a trainee before you go into the assistant manager role.
And that didn't take you very long. You sort of said, oh, you wouldn't do it every day, but within 1 to 2 months, like you said, you were able to train and develop new individuals coming into the business. So it is something that very quickly we want you to step up and take control. What else are we going to learn on our management trainee? What other skills are you going to get? Emotional intelligence. We work with a really close-knit team, typically one branch manager, 1 to 2 assistant managers, and 3 to 5 trainees and support staff around that. So I think it's really understanding and going back to our values and who we're about and creating that inclusive environment. It's about understanding individuals, where they've come from, their cultures, and being able to emphasize with them as well. That's really, really key. So a big part is the marketing and sales. What do I mean by marketing and sales, guys? So what are some of the things that you've been doing in this arena?
So sales, obviously, you've got day-to-day sales, selling like upgrades and stuff to our customers. And then marketing, it's sort of building relationships with local businesses. So you'll have assigned businesses that you need to go out and market to. So essentially making sure they're having a good experience with us, what we can do to tailor our services to make them to rent with us more, even if it's just popping into them with a box of chocolates around Christmas time. It's just sort of building those relationships with our local accounts.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Sophie. And you're absolutely right. So when you see marketing up on the screen, we're not talking about PR or advertising. It's building relationships up with our local businesses and attracting more business from them. Absolutely. And that might be local meetings. That might be doing a drop off of Christmas treats. Who doesn't like a Christmas treat? Excuse me. And then we're going to move on. Problem solving. Massive part to our day-to-day, really. We deal with customers that break down and need a replacement vehicle, and we know that happens at the last minute when you least expect it. So that's a real big part. Obviously, university is very different, very structured. How did you transition, I suppose, and this leads nicely into the adaptability part as well. How did you lead in from Austin, from going from university into the world of work, thinking about problem solving, thinking about being flexible around the business needs?
I think like you said, on a day-to-day basis, you solve like infinite amount of problems. They come at you, and then it does give you that skill where something will go wrong, and the feeling you get when you fix that is class. Especially as Sophie was saying before about kind of running the fleet and like running the branch for a day and stuff is something that I really personally enjoyed. I found that the satisfaction you get when you solve a problem, and then that customer comes back to you and says, "Oh, like thank you for doing that sort of thing." It really does makes it worth it in a way.
But obviously, I'm so emotional on this presentation. Sophie, is there anything else you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, I just think sort of using your skills from university. So if you're involved in like any projects at uni or stuff, like when you've got to meet deadlines, things like that, I think especially at enterprise, obviously time management is important and you've got to make sure you've got your cars ready on time, you're being time efficient in all your activities that you're doing. It's something that gets developed throughout your time as a trainee, but it's definitely something that you'll learn at enterprises, how to be good at problem solving and like quickly switching from one task to another.
Thank you for that, guys. And when we talk a bit about adaptability, not only in your day-to-day, but we really do ask our employees to be extremely flexible within 45 minutes of their local branches. So that can mean that you're moving around and helping and supporting another branch, which will also add to what you learn in the business and develop you as a leader as well. So let's move on. The application process. Excuse me, guys, I do apologize. So we start off with an online application, which is maybe where you're at or a little bit further in the application process. We definitely don't require a minimum grade. You know, we don't ask for particular degrees. We're looking at you as an individual. So really take your time completing that application form and highlight everything that's about you, your work experience. So when you're working at Tesco's, I don't want to see just stacking shelves or serving customers. Really take your time and think about what you've been exposed to and what you can bring to the business. You've heard us talk about that the role sales related, service related, involves leadership, flexibility, communication. So really think about key buzzwords that you can bring into your application form to highlight your skills. And remember, we're not just looking at work, it's what makes you unique. So think about sports activities, clubs, societies, think about anything you do on the weekends. Bring all of that in, any charity works, because we're really interested in you as an individual, and that starts off on your application form. We then move into a virtual interview where one of my team would actually take time out to interview you over a sort of 45 minutes to learn a little bit more about you, take a deeper dive into your application form, learn more about your details that you've highlighted, sales and service, and more importantly, really understand what you're looking for in a career. Does it align with what we have to offer? And I think that's the most important thing in the interview process. We're here to support and develop you. You've heard that. You've heard Austin talk about that. You've heard Sophie talk about that. You've seen that highlighted on the slides. But also, I think it's really important that what we offer, which is a career in management around customer service and sales and developing you into a leader, is what you're looking for and aligns nicely with your long-term career path. We then go into a branch visit, really unique opportunity, something that not many graduate employers do out there. It gives you the chance to go into one of our local branches. You spend a couple of hours with the team, really getting to shadow what they do, understand what their role's about. You get to be embedded into their day-to-day. You get to ask questions. This interview process isn't one way. It's not just about what we are learning about you, but it's what you want to learn about us. We understand you are interviewing us as much as we are interviewing you. I think it's learning about the training, it's learning about the opportunities, it's learning about how they adapted into the role, learning about how maybe some of the challenges that they've had, some of the successes that they have had, so that when you walk away out of that interview process, you can go home and you can reflect on your journey and go, this is definitely the career I want to go into. Or actually, guess what? It's absolutely not a problem if you've gone through the interview process and it's not quite what you want. We appreciate that the role isn't for everybody, just like we interview you. But it's important to take time out to reflect. Please don't make judgments of, reading something on the website or, just hearing it from somebody else. Go in and make your own decisions. And then most importantly, we want that lead on to a job offer. That's the one thing that my team gets super excited about, is being able to offer you a job, especially as we've seen you grow through the interview process, and we're really invested in making sure you get there. We do drop-in sessions to help you prep for your interviews. The team will call you up ahead of your branch visit to make sure that you're set and ready to go. It gives you a chance to just ask any final questions. And then, of course, everybody wants to welcome you in the interview process. We know that we get nothing from putting up a front and not helping you out through the recruitment process. So there's a lot, we've covered a lot. And most importantly, I hope it's giving you an insight into the company, the ethos, our values. Hopefully Sophie and Austin's done a great job in terms of helping you out and understand what you're going to get from here and the reasons on why you should apply if you haven't already completed your application form. But also we understand there's more research that you can do. We would love for you to follow us on our socials. We are on Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn, and we have our own YouTube channel. And not just that, you'll get loads of hints, tips and advice. You can sign up to our drop-in sessions. We have got something going on a weekly basis. We appreciate it's not easy always looking for jobs out there. And what we want to do is support you all the way to get you to either a role with enterprise or with another organization that is suited to your needs. And again, learn more about the role. If you haven't already completed, go back on, log in and get that done. But at the same time, while you're completing your application form, learn more about the opportunity. This is only a whistle-stop tour of what we can offer you. There is so much more on our website that we can bring to yourself and your career.
She gone?
Yeah, I think we're just coming to the end anyway. So if anyone has any questions, I think Raj will pop back in. If you put them in the chat, me and Austin can try and answer your questions.
Hi everyone, I'm going to pop in from behind the scenes. Apologies, I'm not dressed for this, but as we've lost Raj, yeah, I do just want to pop in and just say ultimately she had got to the end. She just wanted to let you know that if you have any questions, you can always reach out to our recruiters. I will put the contact our recruiter page into the chat. But now I suppose I'm sure Raj is desperately trying to rejoin. If anybody does have any questions that they want to put in the chat, now is the time to do that. So pop your questions into the chat. We will do our best between us to answer them. Just for everybody out there, I'm Sam Meredith. I'm a recruitment marketing manager based at our European head office. I started on the management trainee program, worked my way up, and now look after recruitment marketing and employer brand for our European markets. One of the questions in the chat from Simar is that is asking whether we do in fact offer roles within marketing. On the management trainee program, you absolutely get an element of marketing as part of that role because you're learning how to run a business as a whole. And so part of that is to go out and try and encourage our customers to utilize our services, and we do that in many different marketing ways. I studied French at university and joined the management training program, and never in a million years believed I would be in a marketing role, more of a digital and content marketing role that I'm in now. But enterprise afforded me that opportunity and allowed me to move into that position. So ultimately, I guess one of the things we say about enterprise is you can start with the company and move around into lots of different roles without actually ever changing company, which is something that I've in my nearly 18 years of being with the company have thoroughly enjoyed. Raj is back, so it was lovely to meet you all, the person behind the scenes, and I'm gonna leave you all now.
18 years, Sam. You don't
18 years,
look old
Raj.
enough for that.
I used to report into Raj, so I feel a bit nervous now.
I mean, guys, this just goes to show things go wrong. So in your interview process, should you ever drop off internet or something goes wrong, or it just says you're going to connect back into Zoom at some point, just breathe. We understand we are all humans. It happens. Saying that, I think I messaged everybody going, tell me it's everyone and it's not just me. But clearly it was just me.
It was just you, Raj. It was just you. But we do have a message in the chat asking if we offer internships within HR. So I'll leave that with you.
We do tend to have very bespoke presentations. Tend to be our which is based in Egham. I am going to say We have just filled it. However, the management trainee placement gives you an exposure to the HR aspect, but not just directly in HR.
I just want to say there's a girl I worked with last year who did the management trainee program, finished it after a year, and she didn't really want to go to an assistant manager role, and she went straight into accounts team. So after your kind of 9 to 12 months in your management trainee scheme, those roles do become available to you. So yeah, just wanted to say that.
Thanks for that, Austin. Absolutely. Just like myself, I've gone into the recruitment field. You know, I worked through the management trainee role. I worked through up to an assistant manager, and then the opportunity come in the assistant in recruitment. It was an opportunity I really couldn't just say no to. I've got outside recruiting experience, and I wanted to get both aspects tied in together. And actually, I haven't looked back. Sam said 18 years that she worked for me. Gosh, so you can just imagine how long I've been here. But hopefully, again, that gives you a window into what a great company that we are. I always say we're a one-stop shop for a career in any field you want to go into. So what's great for me is if I want to continue to work under the HR umbrella, I can go and dip into training and development. I can go into HR. And I think that's the beauty of enterprise. We're not just a car rental company, as much as it says that, or we don't operate just all under all these different brands. We have so much. We have a legal team. We have an IT division that looks after all of our technical sides. We have accounts, like you've mentioned. We have a marketing team to do all of our advertising. So we do have a lot of opportunities, and some of these bespoke opportunities come into we do have roles in these areas, but they come few and far, really. So yes. Are there any other chats that I can't see anything on the chat? Obviously, of course, I think Sam's just put in, you can always connect with a local recruiter as well if you've got any further questions, or you can email us as well to ask any further questions. Sam, is it just my side playing up, or can you not see any questions as well?
No, you're all good, Raj. I think we do have one just come in.
Just one last question.
What's the duration of the management trainee role?
I think we're always learning and developing. So the actual core position is a 12-month training program, which will give you exposure to lots of different business aspects. I mentioned earlier on, some individuals have done that within 10 months and some have taken 18. Really is catered to you and developing you as an individual. So hopefully that's answered your question there. I think we have maybe exhausted the audience because there are no more questions. Hopefully everybody has managed to get an insight into the role and the opportunity of what we're about as a business. Hopefully it's given you a bit more of an insight into whether this role's right for you or not. I mean, please just don't take the 45 minutes that you've been on this session. Please do. I encourage you to go back onto our socials. I encourage you to go back onto our website and really do a thorough, in-depth research on who we are as a business, what we can offer you, how we can develop you, and definitely look forward to seeing an application form come up. If anybody does have any questions, Sam, that we've missed out or we haven't seen on the chat, Sam has put an email address onto the chat group, so please do email that and then we'll happily answer those and take those offline. But hopefully everybody will have a wonderful Thursday afternoon. Sophie, Austin, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Sam, thank you so much for stepping in as the internet and technology goes down. For everybody that's on the chat group, thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully it was well worth it, and we'll look forward to processing one of your application details in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.